So the Victory Day sale is finally here, at least for when it comes to the vehicle packs. And this time around, Gaijin has given us 34 different ones. Although I will admit it has been a lot better in the past, but at least we're getting something, I guess. Yeah, I can already read the comments. I don't think you guys are going to be too happy with that statement. But we're not going to be talking about every single vehicle pack for sale. Instead, I'll leave that to the professionals who can make long-form content way better than I ever could. Instead, I'm going to be talking about 3 particular vehicles that are going to go away once this sale ends. The VRCC, the Ruycat 105, and the Marova, or Markava, whichever it is to you guys, Mark 2D. Oh, and I do have to show this out, of course. It's kind of a given for the most part. I do have a 3% discount. Now, it doesn't help you. Unfortunately, you won't be seeing an extra 3% discount, but what it will do is it'll pay us as a creator. We still see that money from whatever you're spending, which means you can support your local creator. If you want to use mine, the link down to the store page is down below in the description. If anyone else, there's a ton of other creators whose codes you can use, and it's an easy way to support us during these major sales. Now, a quick disclaimer. This is all my opinion. This is going to be based off the entirety of my own experiences with every single one of these vehicles. And I do own them all, and I do have separate videos for them if you guys happen to be interested in how they perform in their own detailed format. Although some of the information provided in the original videos might be a little outdated, I'll be doing my best to kind of outline the changes as we go throughout this entire video. And again, I won't be mentioning any other vehicle that's going to be missing outside of what's already shown. There are several others also going to be missing once the sale ends, but rest assured, Gaijin has a very good habit of bringing these vehicles back as part of, well, Golden Eagle purchases, which in my opinion is kind of bad compared to what you're getting right now. Obviously, you're paying 30 bucks a piece for these as opposed to what, 55 or 60 in Gaijin coin just for the vehicle. Yeah, so they're worth it right now should you be on the fence about it. Now let's talk about the very first one, the Italian VRCC, a vehicle that isn't terribly old, and in fact, it's a vehicle that I have been deeply enjoying over the last couple of years. It's a battle rating 9.7 vehicle that has some pretty cool features. DM33105, which is a very good round. It actually has quote-unquote armor. I'm not gonna say it's really that good, but it can survive you in the best possible moments. You do have a laser warning system / laser rangefinder combined, and you have generation 2 thermal sights, although you do have to keep in mind battle rating 9.7 is kind of rough. 9.3, 9.7 is rough. You will be facing 10.0, 10.3 way more than you would otherwise be comfortable with. Trust me when I say that. But do keep in mind, you do not have a 9.7 lineup. You have a 9.0 and a 9.3 and slightly above that, but really you're not going to be able to reinforce too much. But at the end of the day, for $30 or 30 Gaijin coin, whichever it is to you, of course, it's definitely a vehicle worth looking into. You have great mobility, you have decent optics for the most part, and you have that flank and span capabilities that the Italians are very well known for. In fact, the Italians have some of the best wheeled vehicles, if not the best wheeled vehicles in the game. And in truth, this vehicle also complements them very well. Now, the next vehicle I'd like to go a little bit more into detail with is the British Ruycat 105, or excuse me, the South African Ruycat 105. Granted, it is paired up with the British. It's kind of a force of habit. This is essentially the same thing you would find with the VRCC. You don't get a laser warning system, unfortunately. You still get generation 1 thermal sights, you get laser rangefinder. It's kind of a given. But one thing that Gaijin did do for this vehicle fairly recently, I think within the last year or so, is they gave this vehicle DM33105, which is a very comparable round at battle rating 9.3. Of course, seeing that this is a light tank after all, it's easy to use that scout and use that firepower to very good effect. And it's a wheeled vehicle, which means you're going to be fast. Flanking and spanking is going to be a hell of a lot better, and you have some decent reload given well, the 105s around this BR aren't the exact best with reload speed. It's still a very competitive gun for the battle rating, and even more so with the firepower it has. But the one thing about this vehicle that absolutely drives me nuts compared to that of the VRCC is the fact that you can get 50 cal from the side very easily. This thing is literal toilet paper. Flanking and spanking is going to be the name of the game. It's a wheeled vehicle. It's kind of a given, but a little bit more so for this type of vehicle. And for 30 bucks, it ain't terrible, but do keep in mind 9.3 doesn't really exist for the British. Although you do have a powerful 9.0 lineup, it can complement it very well, but keep in mind you will be risking that up tier to 10.3, where some of those 9.0 vehicles just can't really fight too well in. And then at very last, we have the Marova Mark 2D, a vehicle sitting at battle rating 9.7. But here's the kicker about this thing. It has seen a ton of buffs over its lifetime. It's gotten a better transmission, which allows it to reverse a lot quicker than it used to. I think it was what, around 10 or 11 kph going in reverse. Now it's up to 23, which is pretty nuts. And then Gaijin had decided to give it, I believe it's the M413. I was thinking M416, the M413 APFSDS, which is DM33105. It's the exact same thing. But the biggest gripe I have about the Marova Mark 2D is the fact that it's kind of squishy. This thing will not take a good hit. Don't get me wrong, this thing was designed IRL to survive some pretty gnarly hits from the front, but really that's only against chemical munition. So anyone firing any sort of heat round at you, even some high grade heat rounds that's below 700 millimeters of base pen, is probably not going to be doing you too much damage. Although, you know, don't quote me on that. You do have this massive profile of a vehicle, but it does make up for a little bit of it. You do have good firepower for the most part. You do have great optics. That commander sight is actually pretty damn good if you know how to use it. And you have a vehicle that for some reason loves to bounce shots whenever someone tries to take a shot at your breach. Although I wouldn't really count on that. It's happened to me, and I've done this plenty of times where I have bounced shots and I've had shots bounce on me from the front. You'd be surprised. And for what? The same price as the rest, 30 bucks? It ain't terrible. It ain't the best, but I'll tell you this, it's a hell of a lot better than playing the Ramsago at 11.0, where you have to face 11.7. That's 2A7s, T90Ms, M1A2 Seps. Yeah, good luck with that one. And there's one more thing for when it comes to all of these vehicles, and you need to understand this, all right? 9.3 and 9.7 love to get up tiered. I mean, the environment for them is incredibly unstable. You will see up tiers way more often than not. Although when you do get those juicy down tiers, all of these vehicles, especially the Mark 2D, are an absolute bully. Although the same can be said against you if you face those 10.7, 10.3 vehicles. And do keep in mind the 292s and the Leopard 2s, which are very common at 10.0, 10.3, are gonna do you in very easily. Although I like to say it does teach you the top tier, well, experience. It gives you a little glimpse of what to expect in the very near future once you do get through all this grind. And that's really it for when it comes to all of these vehicles. I'm very disappointed in the fact that these vehicles are going to be removed. They are, in my opinion, worth the purchase if you're looking for something to, well, easily grind with, given that right now most of the sales reside, at least for the high tier environment, around 10.3 to the 11.0. I'm talking the KBT, the clickbaits, the Panzer Battalion 2A4s, etc., which do seem like superior purchases, although those are not on sale currently. And in truth, for the collector's sake, I would say it would be worth picking up every one of these vehicles, maybe not in succession, maybe you already have them, but to me, they're worthwhile, and I'm grateful for the fact that I do own them, although most of these vehicles may not fit your playstyle. Wheeled vehicles, they kind of require you to know what you're doing, even more so when it comes to map positioning or map knowledge. So do keep that in mind when you do decide, or if you decide to pick up any of these vehicles. But I'm curious, and I'm asking you for this. If you could, go down to the comment sections, let them know. If you're a newbie on this and you're on the fence and maybe my opinions just weren't strong enough, feel free to read the comments and again, post up your thoughts and opinions on this. Is this a worthwhile purchase? Is this gonna be maybe something you want to look into? Tell me your experiences and I'll do my best to heart them as I seize them. Also, I had to turn up the mic a little bit because it was down a few ticks. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun in editing. But guys, thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Listening. You know what I mean. I can't English right now. All right. Thank you for being here and keeping an eye out for these sales and this video. And I hope you guys did enjoy everything. And I will see you not only in the next video or even the streams, but most certainly in the upper BRs of War Thunder. I'll see you next time.